In 2021, I tried out different DeFi projects in the hopes of making some extra passive income from cryptocurrency. I've tried BlockFi, Anchor Protocol, and PancakeSwap so far, but I've only kept the first two investments as of today. But aside from those three, back in November, I made also an investment into Time Wonderland, a decentralized reserve currency protocol available on the Avalanche network. Now, I'm quite late to the party because apparently a lot has happened to Time Wonderland from what I've read and seen after the 3 months I've left my investment there. So in this video, we're going to talk about a little bit about what is Time Wonderland, what happened to the project, and most importantly, what happened to my investment after 3 months of trying it. Anyway, let's talk about first, what is Time Wonderland? Wonderland, or Time Wonderland as it is popularly known, is a decentralized finance platform on the Avalanche network. It was launched back in September of 2021 and was founded by a person named Daniel Sestagelli. Wonderland is a fork of the Olympus DAO, which is very popular in the DeFi space because of its OHM token or OHM token. Basically, what that means is that they used OHM's framework to create the same project. The major similarities between the two projects is that they use a reserve or treasury to back each of their tokens. The difference, however, is that OHM uses the DAI token to back up its coin, whereas Time uses MIM. Users can stake Time to earn more time or mint Time at a discounted rate by trading it for LP tokens or other assets. The big problem with this though is that each new Time token that is minted lowers the overall value of the token. The developers of Wonderland know about this and they expect that the value of the token will go down in value over time. While the price will most likely go down, the treasury is used to back each token and ensure that the token will not go below a certain point. So the big question here is, what happened to Time Wonderland? So there are some investors who made a lot of money with the project using their features. They even cited that they were making returns of up to 1,000% plus APY to as high as 80,000% APY. But towards the end of January 2022, Wonderland's total lock value or TVL went from $2.6 billion to below $900 million. So how did that happen? And the answer to that is this: the entire crypto market experienced a downward trend during the last half of November 2021. While this is a typical scenario in the crypto markets, Olympus DAO and its forks had a harder time. According to This Morning on Chain, investors in these projects expected massive gains, often using leverage to achieve their desired returns. As the market trended sideways and down, leverage positions were liquidated and investors lost confidence in high APY DAO. Since the end of November, Time's token price went down in value and its leadership encouraged investors to stick with the project. A person named Sifu, who is part of the development team in Wonderland, implied that they were going to invest in other revenue-generating projects. But as the project lost investors, Wonderland's management made promises to airdrop tokens and even initiate buybacks to prevent the token from flash crashing. Now, as far as I know, no airdrops were made and some buybacks were initiated when the price of Time inched closer towards $1,000. But within a few weeks, a massive sell-off dropped Time's value down to $400. There are speculations though that Wonderland leadership allowed the project to tank, basically liquidating leverage positions in the process. But a day later, that news broke out that a feigned exit scammer named Michael Patron may be Sifu, who is Wonderland's CFO and treasury manager. On January 27, a Twitter user revealed Sifu's identity and shared a chat with Daniel Sestagelli confirming Sifu's identity as Michael Patron. Previously, Patron served prison time in the US for identity fraud and is also suspected of stealing over $150 million in an exit scam at Canadian centralized exchange Quadriga CX in 2019. On January 29, Time token holders took a vote on whether or not to shut down the project and distribute its treasury or continue the project. Most wanted to continue Wonderland, but despite that, a day later, Sestagelli kills the project anyway. Then, Sestagelli resurfaced a few days later for an AMA talking about Wonderland's future. He mentions not ending the project, a restructuring of its leadership, new tokenomics, and possibly reimbursing some of the Wonderland investors who were liquidated. Finally, Sestagelli teased two potential new directions for the project called Wonderland 2.0 and the Professor Proposal. And as far as I know, there are no updates regarding these at the moment. So that's the entire Wonderland fiasco. Let's take a look at what happened to my investment after 3 months of trying Time Wonderland. As for my investment, you can actually start guessing what happened to them after trying it for 3 months. When I went to their website and looked at my dashboard, luckily my balance was still there. When I first started, I invested an amount of $383 in Time, plus I paid $2.33 in fees. fees. At this time, I was really happy because the fees were not that much. Basically, it won't eat too much on my initial investment because it was in the Avalanche network. And 3 months later, since I was late to the news and in doing my exit, my $383 investment went down to $18.50, which is a 95.17% decrease in value. So obviously, this is a very big and tragic loss for me because I had really high hopes for the project to survive long term. Going through this again made me think about the time when I lost $3,000 in BitConnect back in 2017. Now that time was a very big and devastating loss for me because I was still a college student and I had nothing left to kind of like help me get back up. The difference this time, however, though, is that I was ready to kind of like lose the money I invested in Time Wonderland. There is some sort of detachment with the money I just lost here because I do had some feeling that I would literally lose all the money that I had when I invested in this project. After all, this was a project with high APYs, believing in itself that it was sustainable for the long term. But still, I cannot stress enough the fact that I lost money here, and these types of projects are definitely high risk. So the point here is that losing money is part of the game here in the crypto world. But before we end this, there are a couple of things that this experience has taught me. So let me share these lessons with you so that you come out a little bit wiser and then you are more practical when it comes to these DeFi projects. The number one thing that I can tell you is that do not rush. It took me a while to decide to invest in Wonderland, and that's something that I got right. I've seen the project back in October and I saw people getting these high, crazy APYs, and that got my interest. After looking into Time Wonderland, I decided to only invest the amount that I used for this project because it was relatively big enough compared to what I usually use for these experiments, but it was also small enough that it would not have a big impact on my finances. Number two I want to tell you is keep your radar on. Now this point is something that I completely disregarded jumping into Wonderland. Remember that these projects are not regulated by any entity that would help you get your investment back. These projects are governed by the people or by the DAO or maybe even some development team out there that you don't know. And these people or these resources are the only connection that you have with your money and the project. So it is very important that you keep an eye on social metrics such as the community chatter and the hype around the project. So I highly recommend that you follow their social media channels so that you are updated on whatever is happening, and also get into their private community groups so that you have an insight on what may be happening that is not publicized. The third point here is to research more. This is by far the most important aspect in investing in this DeFi projects or just investing in general. I try my best to do this, but it's almost unavoidable that I can do this perfectly. And when it comes to research, the first thing that I want to learn more about is their tokenomics. This is basically the economics of a token and how it will be used inside the project. Tokenomics covers three important aspects of any digital assets, which is the fundraising, the governance, and the ownership. And lastly, I want to research more about a project's development team. One issue that surrounds a lot of DeFi projects is that they are usually founded by people who are anonymous. The anonymity in cryptocurrency is one of the aspects that make the space very attractive, but it's also a double-edged sword. While you may come off anonymous to other people come off to you as anonymous as well. Knowing who the development team is, their experience, and their credibility is something that I am going to improve on my due diligence. As for my plans for 2022 in cryptocurrency, it's very simple. I'm just going to invest in safer staking platforms and tokens. Now I know that the word safe doesn't really exist in the world of cryptocurrency, but what I'm talking about are relatively safer investments. This year is going to be a very busy one for me and my work, so it's going to be hard for me to keep track of all these projects that move too fast. I won't be able to track all of them in my investments if all I'm focused on is chasing high APYs. There's always going to be the next shiny DeFi project out there, and it's much better for me to stay on the safer side right now. I'm simply just going to build my crypto portfolio, add some assets there, and just stake on some safer platforms. As an example of that, I recently started a savings account on KuCoin where I can earn some sort of interest with my Bitcoin. While it may not be a very big return for me, at least I know that my Bitcoin or my crypto assets are actually gaining some sort of interest without any of my oversight. Right now, at least I can assure myself that I hit it or kind of like put it in a safer place. And probably for this year or maybe even next year, but who knows, I can definitely give up high returns over safety. And that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching my entire video. I hope you found this very informative and helpful. And if you are a time token holder, how are you doing? I hope that your loss is not as big as mine, because at least you can get your money back. Hopefully you found this news like sooner than I did, because maybe you could have exited sooner than me. If you were able to exit really fast, then good job for you, kudos, points for you. Hopefully others who had invested in time did not have the same fate as me. But if you are just like me, condolences to all of your losses. We lost quite a lot as well, but then again, that is part of the game. And like I said earlier, we just need to do better, research more about the project, and pretty much be better with our money. Anyway, if you like content just like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so that you get updated whenever I post content just like this one. And also, if you are on Instagram, please add me there at LilyDread as a friend so that we can chat, collaborate, and maybe even exchange some ideas. Thank you again so much for watching the entire video. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!